This is Mark, and it's chapter 8, and it's verse 22 to 26. And they come to Bethsaida, and they bring a blind man to Jesus and implore him to touch him. Taking the blind man by the hand, he brought him out of the village, and after spitting on his eyes and laying his hands on him, he asked him, "Do you see anything?" And he looked up and said, "I see men, for I see them like trees walking around." Then again he laid his hands on his eyes, and he looked intently and was restored, and he began to see everything clearly. And he sent him to his home, saying, "Do not even enter the village." Just before this incredible miracle the Lord Jesus does, a little bit earlier, we see the Pharisees coming to Jesus and saying, "Give us a sign that you are who you say you are." And they come to test him. And here we have Jesus. They comes to Bethsaida, and there is a blind man, and the people are imploring him to come and heal him. And the Lord Jesus takes the man out of the village. And when he's out of the village, he spits in the man's eyes, and he lays and then Jesus asks, "Do you see anything?" And he says, "Well, I can see people moving around. They're like trees." And Jesus prays again, and he lays his hands upon the man's eyes, and he starts to see. And and at the end, Jesus says, "Don't even enter the village. Just go home. Just go home. I've done this for you. This is something that is personal, that is unique for you. I want you to just go home. Don't go back into Bethsaida. Just go home. I've delivered you of this, of your blindness. Now just go home." And sometimes it's the time to shout these miracles from the rooftops. But here in this instant, Jesus said, "Just go home." It was when everybody was clamoring for a sign, Jesus didn't just walk away and say, "This is an adulterous generation who demands a sign. I'm not going to give them." But when he comes across a man who is blind, who has faith to be healed, he heals the man. And he spits in his eye. What a thing. The scriptures tell us that Jesus only did what he saw the Father doing. And he followed the instructions as he saw them. And this man's eyes, initially, he wasn't made completely well. But Jesus prays again. And then he can see things clearly. And it's like an example of our walk with the Lord. When we come to know him, our eyes are opened, and yet we don't fully understand. And perhaps we will never fully understand until we see the face of the Lord Jesus when he returns, or when we finally die and we see him as he is. But we need the Lord Jesus to be constantly touching our eyes so that we can see the truth of his word, and to see how wonderful and majestic and humble and kind that he actually is. We need to continue with him. Sometimes we don't understand. People just look like trees. Things don't make sense. But we just need to continue with him. Say, "Lord Jesus, will you touch my eyes? Will you touch my understanding so I can know what is the real truth, what you are really like?" And this is what happened to this man.